We've heard from Dima that we don't have enough data, and now let me introduce Jasmine from Rejuve.ai. Rejuve.ai is a company which is focused on decentralized science and longevity research, and Jasmine has background in health informatics management and informatics, and she's very dissatisfied with the current healthcare status quo. So let's hear from Jasmine. Please welcome.
Thank you, Alexei, and thank you, Victoria and all, for putting on this awesome event. All right, as mentioned, my name is Jasmine. I'm a CEO of a company called Rejuve.ai, which is at the intersection of AI, blockchain, and longevity. So part of the crypto Web3 space, so get to hear a little bit of that perspective. So my talk is called AI and Health Optimization, Navigating Health Span in the 21st Century. So it's kind of going to merge a little bit of the themes of what we talked about in the first session of health optimization, and then where we're heading into the future. So we have what's called like kind of the paradox of progress. So in the modern times, pretty much post-industrial revolution, we've had an increase in life expectancy, mostly due to reduction of child mortality, curing a lot of infectious diseases that are now completely preventable, and an increase of global access to a lot of those medicines. But on the contrary, we've also had some losses in the overall health span aspect due to particularly the new wave of technology. And those things are mostly sedentary lifestyles, so people are not going out and doing any sorts of manual labor, spending much time outside. We don't really have to anymore, and that kind of spawned the need for things like gyms and working out, which some people really love, and other people it's kind of unnatural, and it is kind of, even on an evolutionary basis, unnatural, because we never really had to do that before. We have a big increase in processed foods, so emerging out of hunter-gatherer kind of modes, and people growing their own food and doing all of those processing steps on their own. Now we just kind of go to the store and buy stuff in boxes with a long list of ingredients that most people don't even know what they are. And we've also had what they call kind of diseases of affluence on the rise, so obesity, things of that nature, and also seeing the increase in age-related diseases like cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, which kind of just arise from the fact that more people are actually making it to older ages than ever have before. So how can we optimize health span as we approach this new world where we're using more and more technology and less kind of outdoor things? And not that I'm not advocating for that, because I love nature, and I think we should definitely preserve that and get out there. So this is where the AI aspect comes in. And of course, AI is able to trawl through a lot more data than individual researchers and scientists can. And this enables that we can actually make protocols that are more preventative and personalized at a larger scale. So we can do things like early detection into bad pathways, so that people now younger and younger, by taking different tests and kind of focusing on health span as a goal and an idea, can actually detect when their biomarkers are kind of heading in the wrong direction and redirect that before it actually begins to express. And then we have faster access to tailored protocols. So as we gain more and more data, we can actually begin to see which approaches work better for which types of people, and kind of avoid things that may be ineffective or dangerous or not the right fit. And then we can, again, prevent chronic diseases or even reverse them in some cases if it's early enough or we have the right solutions. And also, kind of what we were getting at in some of the earlier talks, simulation and continuous monitoring. So the more that we can learn, the more that we can actually make the realistic simulations to be able to test interventions, even on kind of digital models of yourself or of someone like you, to be able to predict with a higher probability which can actually be the most effective. And also future risk reduction. And so what are the specifics about AI personalization and optimization of health span? So of course you want to start with the genetic predispositions. Whole genome sequencing used to be a super expensive thing, and now it's down to about $200 to $300. So that's a good baseline to start on, kind of what you're higher risk for and what you're not. And then, of course, want to overlay that on actual clinical biomarkers too, to kind of cross-validate and see whether or not that is true for you at the moment. You can use DNA methylation expression testing as well to also quantify where you're at as far as your natural predispositions. But then there's the other aspects of life, like time constraints. Do you have a family? Kids? Commutes, work, all that sort of thing. There's allergies, of course. You got to avoid certain things. Maybe there's things that are super healthy for some people, but you're not able to consume them. So that's something to consider. Your already degree of physical activity and maybe limitations in mobility and what you're comfortable with. And then just overall lifestyle preferences, because we all kind of know like what are the healthy things to do, but it doesn't mean it's something that you necessarily want to do or that makes you mentally happy. So we have to kind of be able to aggregate all of these factors into one to be able to put you on the best possible course. And then there's kind of a speed of how fast are you willing to move in that, do you want to be on a really rigorous protocol where if you follow this to the letter, you're going to be, totally turned around in like a month or two? Or is that too intense and you'd rather kind of do it at a pace that's slow enough to where, okay, I'm not going to get horribly ill, but I have a bit more time to pace myself. So it's the things like that that I'm really looking forward to and trying to build with the AI personalization aspect. And also we have to remember that AI always needs data to work. It's not a miracle worker, but a tool. We do hear a lot about kind of AI replacing jobs and all this kind of a thing, and that may eventually happen, but right now it's kind of replacing the more menial task. And I mean, cars replaced horse and buggy drivers and that sort of a thing, and we kind of just adapt to that, so something to keep in mind. And so now I'm going to talk about Rejuve.ai a little bit. So the original concept actually came from a spinoff of a larger ecosystem called SingularityNet. SingularityNet is kind of working on artificial general intelligence. So it's a blockchain-based entity that's international. It was founded by Dr. Ben Goertzel, who's one of the longest AI and AGI researchers in the world. And it's pretty much the idea that if AGI, or if or when AGI comes about, that it kind of has these humanistic values baked in. Compassion, actually care for humanity. And one of the ways to do that is for the first AGIs to be working on making humans live longer, because that's the complete opposite of Terminator scenarios where they want to get rid of us all, right? And so the core AI R&D kind of took place in that period from 2018 to 21. And then we kind of formally kicked off the product development in 2021. And so I got involved with them way back in 2018 on a volunteer basis. And actually, that's kind of what led me into this. I was in health information management, which pretty much meant I was analyzing a lot of health records from long hospital stays and kind of sending over the information on the billing side to how much somebody's pain and suffering and death was worth in dollar amounts. And I did not think that that was a positive contribution. And I found out about SingularityNet and kind of just got involved in my own time and started to spend more time on that than I actually did on work, and it eventually led to a role on the team. So I started out on the product management, developing the Rejuve.ai app, which I'll get into in a minute. And then we have a little bit of a roadmap and also the token details for any crypto degens out there that would like to know about the RJV, which you can also find on our website, and we'll have a QR at the end. So now we've grown for more than 20 team members, advisors in different disciplines, including genomics, neuroscience, even theoretical physics, and over 9,000 token holders across 3 different blockchains. And also our TGE in 2023, we raised $3.5 million in the TGE. So our plan to accelerate longevity research, first is to build an international data set. So we want to leverage data from people all over the world, featuring clinical, lifestyle, wearables, and eventually omics as well. And pretty much the only requirement is that you have a smartphone and that the technology itself is not kind of highly illegal in your country. So there are a few that, there's some challenges, but, very much bigger than anything that exists today. Utilizing advanced AI techniques, so we're not limiting to just the large language model, but other types of generative AI as well, such as variational autoencoders, which the special feature there is to be able to predict kind of the other missing half of data when you only given the other set. So that's like kind of a feature that we want to use to help people that, like, let's say maybe can't afford to take a whole bunch of expensive omics tests, but can learn from the data of those who can. And one of our core systems that we're operating initially in our app is a Bayesian network, which is trained on hundreds of different meta-analyses, which is a really high-level standard of scientific paper that kind of aggregates lots of clinical studies together and creates the statistical baselines. And we're also advancing that to be a dynamic version as well, so it can kind of point to different better directions as you continue to input data. And that layer will be free for all users always, so we kind of use that as our foundation model, so to speak. And then we're also venturing into the quantum computing aspect as well, and AGI-inspired models, which are developed in partnership with SingularityNet. And then so another unique feature that we're developing is decentralized trials, so being able to do N-of-1 studies on yourself based upon different interventions and protocols that you might be trying. So it's pretty much geared toward biohackers and early adopters and people that are already doing things. So we're not going to tell you you should do this or should do that, but really we want to know if you're doing this, how is it working for you? And being able to establish parameters to measure that and actually have it contribute to a larger body of scientific and medical knowledge instead of it just being subjective and anecdotal. And our Web3-based ecosystem is about being rewarded for the contribution of your data. So this is the incentivization and motivation for people to participate. And the idea is that you input data from these sources mentioned on the first point there, and you get AI-driven insights and recommendations, and also the RJV token, which you can then use in our network ecosystem in exchange for health products and services, such as tests, wearables, supplements, consultations, and anything related to health and wellness, even travel. Our token's listed on a platform called Travala, so you can even book flights and accommodations to different locations if you'd like to go somewhere different to receive things that are not available in your area. And then also on the Web3 blockchain side, we have some usage of NFTs that are kind of different from the typical use and is actually emerging now today, and that's for data ownership. So we have what's called the data NFT, and that's pointing to your unique file in the database, and this is where you can give permission to other entities to use your data, and it also tracks usage of your data in a new emerging product so that it can connect you forever with the kind of proceeds that came from it. And so now just a little bit about the app. So our first features that we're starting with is a biological age estimator. And we also kind of have the hallmarks of aging underlying, which of course, as many are aware, they kind of added some new ones, so we're kind of adjusting to that as well so that we can be most up to date. You can sync various different wearables such as Apple, Fitbit, Garmin, Oura, and more, and we kind of add those according to community preference, like request, high demand. You can input some lab test data, so we are also developing to be able to input that easier and easier over time, and also being able to offer actual providers of this internationally. That's been a pretty big challenge, but there's more and more things emerging in that way. And unlocking the rewards, of course. So that's earning the RJV tokens. The app is been in open beta for a little while, and we're actively finalizing everything so that we can go live. But we do have it continuously open for people to test and give their feedback on, and also just prove that it really is there. And so we are very much, the other name for Rejuve.ai is actually Rejuve Network, so that the whole idea is to be able to connect and direct people to where they need to go. So we're not aiming to replace clinicians or physicians or claim that we are superior or that you no longer need them or anything, but rather we're kind of vetting and directing people to where they want to or need to go. So these are just a list of some of the partners that we're having. Most of them are affiliate network or kind of infrastructural. The first level are just kind of crypto launchpad things. And we also have a few that are already accepting the RJV token, including glycanage peptide bioregulator. Okay, so here are some of the ultimate goals that we are aspiring to with the Rejuve AI platform. The first one is to get people hooked on health. So being able to utilize the same things that make us addicted to looking at our phones or social media and all these other things that kind of had a little bit of a negative effect. We want to use those same mechanisms to actually incentivize and make people want to be focusing on their health and wellness so that it doesn't feel like a chore or that somebody has to interrupt their normally scheduled activities or be someone that they're not in order to get an optimized health span, because lots of people like different types of lifestyles and things that they like to do, but nobody likes to be sick and die. So let's try and not make everybody be a clone and actually live their lives. So we're using mechanisms of incentivization, gamification, and micro-learning to be able to connect people more with their data. So, breaking down these scientific terms to actually be meaningful in their everyday life, and it is kind of along the lines too of the cognitive enhancement element of making an overall more educated, smarter population overall. So education is very much baked in there as well. So building a first of its kind N of one platform, as mentioned earlier, so drawing continuous results from people all over the world and being able to create these unique profiles, which is the next one, the individual protocols, balancing the maximum impact and minimal disturbance to life. So a lot of times you hear about some people are taking like 50 or 100 different supplements a day. We want to create protocols to where, maybe you only need to take 5 a day, and maybe in some rotations, like, you take this one for 3 months and then you switch to that set, and, that we're able to optimize these so that we're not wasting time doing things that we don't really know whether or not are effective, but that we can actually prove with data are really doing something. And then we also, of course, want to contribute to the overall body of knowledge, so establishing a continuous feedback loop that's validated with continuous user data. So the models are getting smarter and smarter based upon the real-world data, and that the predictions are getting more and more accurate for what's actually happening. And then when it goes to going a little bit beyond the health span optimization options of today, we want to be able to enable access to the advanced therapies that are coming along the pipeline. And of course, the cryptocurrencies kind of defer the cost of those a little bit, and even just working in partnerships with such entities that are offering, things like stem cell therapies, for instance, to be able to link people with those and be able to leverage that data as well, so that when they do become wider available, we know what types of ways to use that for those individuals that are best for them. And that's the end, a little bit of a short one, and you can scan the QR code there for our link tree, which you can find a lot more information about Rejuve.ai. We also have a podcast called Healthspan Horizons. And we have lots of other things going on, community ambassador program, and thank you.
Yeah, we have time for 2 questions, probably. Someone? Chris, can you come closer to me?
Will you always get the same amount of tokens for the same data, or will it change if the price increases or decreases of the token? Or will it be also like stable?
So we do like to base it on the kind of total supply rather than strictly on dollar value, because then it kind of minimizes the value of it. If we're only basing it on US dollar, then it's like, why aren't we just using US dollar, right? Now, as far as the values on individual data, it will probably more so be driven by how valuable that data is for the AI algorithm itself. So that would be the premiums on it, based on how useful it is.
Okay, and do you think you will also be able to get companies outside of the Web3 space, or health insurances, or I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, most of our partners actually are outside of Web3. Now, getting them to accept tokens, yes, that's pretty challenging, but we do kind of gradually keep on, promoting this idea, and I think the more that the regulation kind of kicks in, and people, and really the demand from the users, like if people realize that the products and services that they're offering are very synergistic with the same people that like crypto, then they should be able to, add it as a payment method option, and that's kind of the first step to linking with the ecosystem. But yes, we're working with partners both in Web 2 and Web 3.
Another question? Sasha?
Are you going to make your data open source, and in which way would you do that?
So I guess the data itself, since we have like a strong element of ownership and privacy and whatnot, that is like the AI algorithms themselves will always be open source. The data will be permissioned according to the individual user, and the learnings from it will more likely be used than the actual raw data. But we'll kind of see how that evolves as we get there, and it really is going to be decided by the community.
Thank you.